Good morning, Dog Pound. Somewhere out there in Three Rivers Stadium, there's a sea of Steelers fans drowning. Not in victory, but in their own tears. That's right, Cleveland finally gave Pittsburgh something to cry about, and boy, they are swimming in their sorrow this weekend. I mean, they got those terrible towels being repurposed for Kleenexes this morning as they realized that they got beat by the worst team in their division. And their players are making excuses like, I think the conditions kind of saved them today, even though that same team that beat them played in the same conditions. Nonetheless, we're here to talk about it and this game and a little more. But before we dive into this victory, please take a moment to like and subscribe, enable your show notifications on YouTube. Be sure to follow us on X, Instagram, Facebook. Stay up to date on our latest content. Never miss stuff that we release. Also, follow our Discord where we like to talk live on game day in the chat. Huge shout out to incredible partners, CB Excavating. If you got any excavating needs, please reach out to them today and call them for an unbeatable quote. And hey, the New Year's just around the corner. If you want to check your insurance rates and make sure you're getting the good possible rate possible, call Dog White from Allstate Insurance. He will sure to give you a proper quote. Proper quote. And if you call them, please let them know the Bearded Browns podcast sent you. But before we start, Mike, how do you like your coffee?
Straight black coffee. That's it. Nothing in it. No sugar, no cream. Maybe a
sugar.
shot of espresso every once in a while.
That is me. That is me, man. Black, maybe a little sugar just to sweeten it up a little bit if I'm in the mood for a little sugar. But none of that. My wife, right? I'm sure most, not to be profiling here, but most females like to like to douse their coffee with milk or oat milk or grass milk, whatever milk that seems to fit the trends today. And I often ask my wife, like, you don't drink coffee, you just drink flavored coffee milk because you want all this added flavor milk. It's weird to me when I see this huge cup of milk with ice in your hands and you're drinking it. But nonetheless, I like my coffee black, man.
Well, this time of year also, the ladies love the pumpkin spice.
Oh, pumpkins. Yeah. Everything's pumpkin spice candles, pumpkin spice,
everything.
Perfume. Yeah. It's anything. Well, if there's anything else I forgot, we're about to get back into the show. And one of our favorite segments is called The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. So let's hit it, Mike. A little good, a little bad, and a little ugly.
Man, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes, the good, the bad, and the ugly. First, I'll start off with the good. Obviously, the win with Winston, right? We won the game. It wasn't the prettiest, but we often said this, right? We often said that we don't need a quarterback to go out there and throw for 400 or 500 yards. So it would be nice. We said if we can get average quarterback play, we will win. And Winston proved that Thursday night with his average play, but came up with big plays at big moments. So my good, I'll give it to Winston.
The bad was still somewhat of the defense for me. Like they gave up a couple big plays that just kind of was upsetting. And you watch it week in and week out, man. It was confusing because the hype for this game was so intense. Obviously, the good is still that we won, but the defense still giving up big chunk plays. That's not what I want to see at all. There's stuff that still needs to be fixed, but overall, we overcame the game with the weather that we're going to get to as well. That's about really the only bad for that game.
Yeah, yeah. The ugly for me would be Grant Delpit's personal interference, whatever they call that stupid penalty. Where it was just a stupid idea of him to sit there and pull on the mouth guard of of Pickett, and I'm thinking like, and it's not just the call. Like the call was stupid, but in that is it seems like the Browns do these penalties. I call them bad situational penalties at the bad point of the game. Like it's third down. It's good. It was about to be third down, 3rd and 9 again, and he does this stupid thing to brag or to boast or to I don't know, be stupid, and it caused your team 6 points. Now you probably could have held them to 3, but instead you get 6 points. So and then afterwards he's like celebrating that he's actually should have been called for another pass interference because he was draped all over the receiver's back, but he's celebrating the fact that he stopped him. It's like, dude, the reason why they're there is because of you. So just stop with the stupid penalties. Just stop it.
I mean, in his defense, after a play, George Pickens did try to trip him. Adam and Jeff, good morning. Thank you guys for joining the show. And yes, F Pittsburgh. He did try to trip him. And I'm not saying to go out there and rebuttal because that's not what you do in a game you're trying to win and give him easy 15 yards. You don't do that. That's just, you don't. It's a rivalry game, so I understand it. Tensions are high. But when he's on you and you can't catch a ball,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's I agree, but it's always the second person. It's because I have kids, I have 2 daughters. It's always the second one hitting in retaliation that gets caught, right? So for my response with Grant is like, yeah, man, I get it. He's tripping you, and Pickett's a butthole anyways, but just stay focused and let your game do the talking. And speaking of game, let's get into some game chatter this morning. What the Browns had to overcome during this game is insane. And the first one I want to talk about is they overcame 3 turnovers and plenty of missed opportunities. You see, they had great field position, like their first 2 to 3 possessions of the game, where they were almost at midfield, and they came out with 0 points. The slow start, but thank God our defense was on fire that first 3 quarters. It was beautiful to see.
Yeah, it was. It was amazing. It's because it's not what we're used to seeing this year. There is something being built with this team right now. Everybody on both sides of the ball looked pretty good. I think we were scared to kick any field goals, 1, because of the weather, and 2, because Justin Hopkins missed 2 field goals the week prior. So I get it. We were going for a big win. We wanted to crush them, so we're going for touchdowns. The what was our third goal percentage?
Third down.
Third down percentage.
We were actually 1 for 10.
1 for 10. 4 for 4 on 4th down.
Yeah, 4 for 4 on 4th down. And that first down, that only third down conversion was during the last drive of the game where Winston scored a touchdown. Yeah. So yeah, and that's the other thing that had to overcome. Browns had to overcome it. 1 in 10 third down percentage. Even though the 4th downs were 4 for 4, which is what kind of counteracts it, but we still are struggling to get first downs on third down, which is, it's weird to me. We're in the bottom of the league in percentage converting third downs, and I feel that's just obviously if you're not correcting it by now, that's who they are. So somehow they got to win despite that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to get fixed that. Maybe you can't blame play calling this game. We'll talk about that later, but it's just weird. Maybe it's the weather. Who knows? Yeah. But yeah.
So we'll get to the weather.
Yeah.
Where did my notes go? This is amazing. Yeah, we already talked about the Grant Delpit personal foul. Yeah. Jameis Winston with his 2 turnovers. I want to point something out. The Detroit game against the Texans, Jared Goff threw 5 picks and still won the game. That hasn't happened since 1991. Yeah. We watched it last year with Joe Flacco, throwing at least 2 picks a game on average, but still winning a game. And that's when your defense comes in and dominates to win a game. And that's exactly what happened last year. That's what happened in the Jared Goff 5 interception game. I'm not saying throw interceptions and let your defense go out there. You want your defense off the field and you want to be out there scoring points, but we know Jameis seems to throw an average of 1 to 2 interceptions a game, if not 3. But I think he's actually starting to clean that up a little bit. He looks a little more comfortable in the pocket.
Yep.
So I'm okay with that.
I think that one interception, it got away from him because the ball may have been slippery because I mean, he had more open. More was open. I just think the ball got away because it sailed to the left where the defender was. Not that I'm making excuses for him, but I could see why that interception happened.
I'm not going to completely put that on him either. He actually slowed down a little bit. It looked like, was there miscommunication on that pass or not dialed in correctly? I don't know, but
yeah. Kyle says something that actually we're going to bring up later. The defense. This is what we were talking about. The defense miscues earlier. The defense has allowed 4 pass plays, 20 plus yards on 3rd and 9. 3rd and 9 plus. Sorry, 3 of those plays went for first down this game, and 1 of those plays went for a touchdown. Again, we talked about it last week. They're averaging 4 to 5 plays over 20 yards a game. And that's something we're going to have to address in the offseason. Maybe they can bring in a guy like Travis Hunter who can help fill the gap for Newsome, who seems to be struggling. Maybe a safety for some reason. Grant Delpit has him and MJ actually are having down years. That's something that Schwartz needs to fix up, or maybe the offenses around the league are catching on to what Schwartz does with man and then realizing there's some open plays on top. Either way, that's something that we're going to have to address in the offseason for sure because they're getting burnt.
Blown coverage is bad. But I'm going to give it to Juan Thornhill this game. 1, he showed up and had quite a few good tackles. 2, he did comment and said, you know what, I don't want to piss the fans off again. I won't let that happen again. I may have given up on that play, and I normally don't do that, but he's like, there's no excuse, and I won't let it happen again. So respect for that. He came out and balled this week. I'm not upset with him. A lot of people might still be. I see a lot of bench him, but who else you gonna put in there?
Exactly. I mean, you're what, 11, 12 games in the season. Who you gonna put in this place? Like,
and he just came off an injury, so we got to take that into consideration as well. But
let's hope he learns from it.
Yes,
even though he's 10-year vet, hopefully he learns from it. Man, it was a crazy game to watch. Let's talk about some notes from the game. Okay, one thing I've noticed and one thing I liked about this game specifically, maybe it should have been planned ahead because of the weather. 27 pass plays called, 27 run plays called. Now, 2 of those run plays were Winston improvising, one in that touchdown, which was touchdown run was simply amazing. Him being able to put his body in harm's way to dive in for a touchdown. And that was that. I think that is the key for if they want to continue to play or win, I'm sorry, they're going to have to call games like this where it's even or close to even as possible, especially because that would limit Winston's ability to throw an interception. And it would give Chubb his legs back eventually, hopefully for next year.
That's what I think Ken Dorsey's doing. He's realizing, hey, Nick Chubb is coming back. He's getting better and better every single week. It's time to, run 50-50 pass. I mean, yes, we want to pass. The weather didn't help us. We watched it in the 4th quarter where we're like, why are we passing the ball? Why? Like, please, why? Why aren't we just running the ball and running the clock? But
it's weird because the whole game, I didn't realize it was that close until after the game, and I realized, wow, I guess it was called a lot closer than I thought. Maybe it's because I was so, so wrapped up in adrenaline that I'm pumped up and not realizing the evenness of the game. But when I look back at it, I'm like, well, I guess it was a good play call by Ken Dorsey this game because I mean that you can't get 27-27. You can't get any close to any perfect play calling than that. And I think Chubb had about 3 yards per carry. Slushy field, maybe couldn't really get his legs to get grip on the field. Maybe that we'll see improvement next week against
Slushy.
Denver.
That was a whole ass blizzard.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I mean, according to Pickett, it was a horrible conditions, and he was the only one impacted by it, not our team. But another thing I want to talk about from the game, and this is something that we may have to address continuously, is Jameis and his ability to show leadership. There's a couple of things that happened during this game, which makes me believe the reason why a lot of people seem to want to play. I hate this. I hate the fact I'm saying this. What loves to play for Jameis as opposed to most quarterbacks is because his leadership. And I want to take look at a couple of things. And one was dropped in the comments by Kyle when he said, I want to commend Winston on the fumble by Tillman. He was the first person to get to the ball and tackle the defender, and he was 20 yards away.
I saw that. That was amazing. I'm like, why the hell is number 5 way down there?
How did he got receivers around Tillman? Why aren't they getting him?
Right.
No, that to me shows this guy has not just leadership, but he wants to win, right? Like he's willing to run down the field 20 yards. First of all, you have to be able to see. I don't know what made him run down there to begin with. I'm trying to figure it out. But he was running down there probably to call play, probably to get a play call in. Typical run down there, try to maybe hurry up the offense. But either way, his ability to see the fumble and make the tackle, by the way, as the quarterback, making the tackle shows me that this guy has something that has been missing here since Joe Flacco. And I'm not trying to point fingers at anybody, but between Joe Flacco being gone and having him, there's something in the middle there that we had at quarterback that seems to be off. You can kind of guess what I'm saying.
Yeah. And before we move along, Jameis Winston is a true leader. He was the same way with the Buccaneers. He was the same way at the Saints. He's been the same here all year. He's been doing pregame speeches before every single game. Now that he's on the field, I think I don't know, man. Like, honestly, excuse me. The way I want to put this is, and without saying it, but I have to, this team is playing better without Watson.
That's what I was saying when I said there's something in the middle there that's missing. And it's you're 100% yes. We can sit here and talk about it. I think there's proof now, right?
Valid proof.
We were better with we won with barely won, but we won with quarterbacks like PJ Walker. We won with quarterbacks like DTR won a game. And you definitely won with Flacco. So but you can't win with somebody who threw for like 4,500 yards one season, threw for 20, 30 touchdowns in the season, and played spectacular in Houston. And you can't seem to win with him. But then you have these quarterbacks who, I mean, Winston's not, I'm not saying that Winston's the answer long term. That's not what we're saying here. But what we're saying here is like, is Winston going to be a good bridge quarterback to where he can make you winnable while developing somebody behind him?
And that brings up the next question. Will he be here next year? I honestly, to me, right now, I don't say pick up a quarterback in a draft. We have offensive line issues that need to be corrected before you even think about bringing a quarterback in here, because there is absolutely no way somebody wants to come in here and get sacked 40 times mid-season. No. You need to fix the offensive line. You need some defensive aspects out there fixed as well. Jameis, you could play action with him. He's a vet. He knows the league.
He runs the ball. He can run.
If needed, yes.
Yeah.
I say keep him, man. At least sign him to a 1-year deal.
Pocket.
Yeah. Yes.
1 year deal. I would maybe sign 2 years-ish, because you can kind of have him transition year 2 to the rookie. That's if he wants to do that. But either way, his leadership this year is so far, I think, can get us another win or two. And that's going to be upsetting for some fans because they're like, draft pick. We need draft pick. It's like, but if you're winning, that offsets the need for your draft pick. And then the other thing I want to bring out about his leadership is a couple of things. One, the Tillman's fumble, but yet he came right back to him the next. Remember, I told you like he's going to come back to Tillman to try to get his head right, and he did. He tried to throw, he got tipped, but he tried to get his head right, saying, "Hey, you know what? You're going to make mistakes to move on past it. One play at a time. One play at a time." And two, David Njoku drops a touchdown, and that drive, he goes right to David for a 2-point conversion, showing that he still has faith, even though you guys made a mistake. We're all going to make mistakes, but get your head right because I'm going to come right back to you.
I even went on Twitter and told David Njoku, I'm like, you totally redeemed yourself.
Yeah.
But it's like, seriously, like Njoku gets those contested passes all the time. He'll catch the hardest balls, but drop the easiest ones.
Yeah. Now, like now David has a history of doing that, so we can't really point this out, but even the other tight end, he dropped a wide open pass. So you have to start thinking like maybe the ball's wet, maybe the ball's hard, maybe they're just wet all over. Maybe it's just hard to play in the snow. And I get it. I mean, that speaks to, again, the things they had to overcome to win this game. You were up 18-6 at one point, and then you're down within a blink of an eye, but yet they didn't give up. And I think that stems from leadership, the leadership you have on the field, the guy that is calling the play, the guy that is telling people where to line up, and the guy that's speaking belief into them. Now, I'm not saying this because I think me and James's faith line up parallel. I'm saying this because I think what he speaks is life into a team. I didn't see Watson do that all year. I have not seen him do that. And maybe he hasn't had an opportunity to because of all the situation that's clouding him. Maybe he doesn't feel confident to, which speaks to a bigger problem. If he can't be a leader, then how is this team going to follow him?
Exactly.
If he can't speak like what Winston is, now he doesn't have to be as funny or sometimes say off the wall stuff, but yet still entice these people to somehow follow him, right? But there's something that needs to be said about the lack of vocal leadership that comes from Watson that is alarming to me. And I see that after Thursday's game because you have Winston being interviewed by all these people nationally, and he's saying the things that are just like, man, this guy makes me, I want to go play for him, and I'll probably get smashed as soon as I get the ball. Yeah, this team has to feel the same way. And it goes back to the Flacco effect, right? Flacco comes in, culture's changed. The team goes from like struggling to even get the ball downfield to now we can win this game. And we could speak to, again, this year, they struggled to put a 200-yard offense together. Now they're doing it consistently.
Yep.
And it goes back to what you said. What is the key point?
You like you said, you watched it. You watched it happen week in and week out. With Deshaun Watson out there was no development happening on the field. It was insane. And the fans booing him and booing the whole team in general. Yes, we had injuries, and yes, we were horrible. But, man, Deshaun Watson is not the guy. You have to take this in consideration. When Deshaun Watson's on the field and everybody's booing him, the whole team gets down because you're booing every individual on that field. Bad play is a bad play. There's not one person that's going to make a difference, but you kind of see that one person making a difference on the field when Deshaun Watson's out there. So I don't want to sit here and dwell on Deshaun Watson this entire show either, but it's not the guy. He's not the guy. I hope in the offseason somehow we find a way to get rid of him. I don't want him to come back here and
100% agree.
Yeah.
And you have to speak in what you said is like the development of talent. You hit it right. You hit the nail on the head. If you look at this receiving core since Winston has stepped in, you would think that we got different players on this team. You got Jerry Jeudy getting 6 to 7, 8 catches a game now, right? You're getting Tillman progressing into receiver you thought he was going to be coming in from Tennessee. I mean, Winston's hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different people for catches on Thursday game. 8. He's spreading the ball.
Yep.
Around. He's doing exactly what Flacco did when Flacco was here. He doesn't, and I think Watson's biggest issue was he would lock in on Cooper, one read, and that's it. If he didn't, he was running out of the pocket.
And I think it's safe to say at this point that Jerry Jeudy is wide receiver number 1.
Yeah, we could talk about that. I think it is safe to say. I really do. But before we move on to that point, I'm going to talk about something that no one I feel is talking about. I caught this during the game. Actually, we were talking with Kyle about it, in our Discord. Tomlin changing the call on the penalty to go from 4 and 2 to 4 down and 2 to 3rd down and 7. That was huge to me because I think that took the pressure off of we need to get this or the game is over to, hey, we have 2 chances to get this. And that gives us 2 different play calls to call here, which gives us some type of hope. So the down and distance thing, right? So 4th and 2, typically, and I know a lot of people disagree with this, that a lot of teams would do a play action bootleg and they would throw. But that, and it was just confusing to begin with because they accepted the penalty, declined the penalty, accepted the penalty. So we're sitting there like, what is Pittsburgh doing here? How many times can they change their mind? Right? And I think that play, and normally Tomlin doesn't make mistakes like that. And then, I mean, credit to Winston from hitting the open guy, Jeudy for 9 yards for that 1st down.
Yes. It's literally punch mouth AFC North football and the snow globe game. I do want to touch one point that Sam actually said, and I wanted to talk about this. Blake Whiteheart, the tight end that came off the practice squad and had 2 amazing catches that I know of in that game. The one that got us a huge 1st down. I don't know how the hell he caught that ball, but man, he caught it.
Snow from behind, the way his body was positioned. Everybody even the telecast thought it was Njoku. Yeah. I thought it was Njoku because that's what Njoku does. Yeah, right?
He's like, oh, David Njoku. No,
wait, that's a white
Blake
dude.
Whiteheart. Yeah,
that's a white guy. Yeah. He has no hair. Like that's not Njoku.
And Akins as well. Like I like Akins. Jordan Akins is a good tight end. I think we have a solid tight end room right now. I don't want to change the tight ends at all. That I want to see more of that Blake Whiteheart kid. I mean, if
I think he'll play.
Oh yeah, I think after that they're going to put him in. I'm not going to say he's going to be this big phenom overnight, but people are going to start liking him if he plays more.
Kyle said, I think Tomlin's thought that pushing him back that far would get him out of field goal range. But Kyle, Kevin said that they weren't going to throw a field goal there regardless, unless they got closer to the goal line because the conditions did not allow them to kick. Because that would have still been like a 42-yard field goal, and there was no way.
Yes.
Maybe Hopkins last year would have made that, but there was no way Hopkins last year. Even Boswell missed his first kick going that way because the wind was pushing toward the kick as opposed to helping the kick. But yeah, credit to him, man. And that's the thing. Like Winston had the belief enough to go to him. Like this dude just got called off the practice squad. Winston was like, forget it, man. I'm just going to, I trust you. I believe in you. Make a play. And he did. He made a huge, huge play. Let's get into something that I want to talk about, notes from this game. And I didn't realize this until Mike posted on our page that Garrett is now number 2 in sack totals. And then I clicked on the picture to see who else was in there. And I did not see TJ Watt. Now, he could have been in there. I probably was distracted. I didn't see him. I didn't see his picture. But Garrett versus TJ Watt this game. Let's talk about it in the numbers, okay? TJ Watt only had 2 pressures, 0 sacks, 4 tackles, and 1 tackle for loss. Credit to Jack Conklin.
Oh man!
Did you see that? Did you see what he did? That block he did during Winston's run for the end zone. Yeah. He literally made TJ Watt look like
you could say it his bitch. He made him look like his bitch. He just pushed him into the backfield. I'm like,
yeah,
there you
it's like
go, man.
He's like a rag doll. Like, who was that? Was it Chubb trying to block him? It was a running back because someone smaller. It was
I think it was
maybe
Chubb.
Yeah, and he was like, it was like a big brother pushing a bully off his little brother, right? So he's like, you got freaking Chubb trying to. I mean, he was doing a pretty decent job, but then Coughlin realized it was just like shove, and he flew 5 yards, man.
Oh yeah,
flew.
TJ Watt is tied 8 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other players with I believe, how many sacks does he have?
8. Wow.
He's tied with in 8th place, tied with 5 other people, and he has where did it go? Oh yeah, he's 7.5 sacks to Myles Garrett's 10. So Myles Garrett out of all these guys is number 2. Trey Hendrickson from Cincinnati is number 1 at 11.5 sacks. But yeah, let's talk about that. Myles 3 sacks before the first half, and then the forced fumble.
3 sacks. Yeah, forced fumble, and the game, he had 8 pressures. 8.
Yeah,
and pressures are just, and we on this show we believe pressures are just as important as sacks.
Yeah, it leads the quarterback to complete disaster.
Quarterback, yeah, and speaking of pressures, will lead to a forced fumble, right? 3 sacks, 5 tackles. 5 of those tackles, 3 were for loss, 1 forced fumbles, and 3 quarterback hits. Myles came to prove something that night, didn't he?
And he did. He said it after the game. He said, "I believe I am the best defensive player in the league."
He did. He did. Credit to him. You know what I loved about this game? What I loved about this game, Mike, is the fact that the fans did not sell their tickets to Pittsburgh fans and allow Pittsburgh to come in and wave those ugly towels. And the fact that the team responded to that, right? They looked out there and they saw, man, it's about 95% Browns fans here.
That's huge.
And that is huge because typically being 2-8, you would see and that's just the talk leading up to it. Like, oh, Browns fans are going to sell their tickets to Pittsburgh fans. It's going to be a Pittsburgh home game, blah, 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 blah. But for some reason, you fans
showed up,
came up, and it just rejuvenated that, specifically the lead off, because the defense was just electrifying starting the game off, and it caused some type of belief, and it is a great way to win. And that's what I noticed. I'm like, man, dude, I love the fact that this team is still. And I had my doubts, like, because from what I'm seeing on the intranet and Facebook and X, I'm like, you got fans saying, fire Kevin, start over, get the number 1 pick. I'm thinking like, man, dude, are we going back to this cycle again where we just want to lose just because we're a bitter Browns fan instead of trying to figure out ways to get better and develop talent that we have on the team instead of hitting the reset button? Like, let's get smarter, man.
And Leatherall's got a point here. He says 3 sacks before it started snowing bad. Imagine how many he would have had if it didn't snow. But here's another thing. Everybody's like, oh, we need this dome. We need this dome. Or I'm sorry, we need to keep the open field stadium. I know we're going to get to this. I'm bursting a bubble right now because it is a hot topic in Cleveland right now.
Let's start. Everybody. I have 5 good questions, and I'll start there. Where's it at? 5 Thanksgiving. Jerry Judy, the whole talk. No, actually, go ahead. Oh yeah, the talk of the Browns' victory over the Steelers was not about the play of the team, but the play of Mother Nature. The snowball lake effect was in full display Thursday. My question to you, Mike, did you think the lake effect snow, seeing the lake effect snow down there impact your decision on wanting a dome stadium?
Absolutely. It says go for a dome because, one, I have 2 reasons, okay? Our record from the past shows that us in weather games like that a bunch of other teams still playing that weather doesn't improve us at all. And secondly, you notice we were beating the crap out of them defensively and offensively until the snow started falling. And then Pittsburgh started coming back. It's not the weather that's helping us, ladies and gentlemen. Get the dome. Let's play good, solid football every week. You got to think of a lot of these players come from Texas and Georgia and all those southern states. It's not everybody coming from here. Like, look at Jerry Judy's like, yeah, man, I played in Denver. Yeah, of course
Yeah.
I've seen snow. But here's Jameis Winston and his kids, like, my first
Never
big
seen
snow
snow.
game, trying to
Yeah.
eat snow, make snow angels and all that. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, and the thing is too, when people say, "Well, you need the elements to impact your team, to impact to get the advantage on your opponent." Who are we playing this past week? Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Where's Pittsburgh?
Right, an hour and a half
right
away.
next door, like next door. So what differences as far as weather advantage do we get when we play them? When we play Cincinnati and when we play Baltimore?
None.
There's no weather advantage. And you play those teams twice a year. That's 8 games. That's a little under half your season.
Yeah.
Like, let's get smart with it. Like, the logic doesn't make sense. Like, you need a weather to, you need snow to. Yeah, your Cincinnati plays in snow. Pittsburgh plays in snow. Baltimore plays in snow. Your point is irrelevant there.
Here, you want some fun facts? Our overall record is 139, 270, and 1. Our home record is 84, 118, and 1. Tell me how the weather helps us.
It doesn't. And Jeff says if we play in the dome, maybe that first kick goes through.
Yep.
That's 3 points, and they still would lose, Jeff, because we won by 4. I mean, so even if you made that kick, you can speak hypothetical. Say like, well, if they're in the dome, maybe they would have been able to throw for a 99-yard touchdown pass as opposed to a 10-yard. Like that's straw man argument there.
And then you got sorry, go ahead.
No, I feel like fans are looking for any reason not to have a dome. It's like, oh, well, what if he would have missed that kick he missed? Like, he would have made it. Like, to me, that's like you're reaching. But the bigger picture here, fans, is like you think like, well, the Haslam's want to build a dome because of a football team. You're wrong. The Haslam's don't want to build a dome because they want their football team to be playing the dome. They want to build a dome because they want to make money.
Yeah.
They
Not only
want
that,
money.
like, I've seen a lot of fans this week saying that the Cleveland Browns don't even deserve a new stadium. Like, you guys, get over yourselves, man. I mean, I'm going to give it to us. At least we're not as bad as Steelers fans because,
Yeah, true.
Holy
true.
crap, man.
They cry a lot.
Yeah, dude, I'm not even going on Twitter anymore, dude. I'm done until
Mike made us lose 50 followers on Twitter and X because he was just going off on Pittsburgh.
I think they were Pittsburgh fans. I don't even care, man.
Pittsburgh fans following a Browns podcast, which is probably because they wanted to talk trash and then realized you can't talk trash.
They are the saltiest POSs I've ever dealt with in my entire life, dude. You guys have been getting rocked by us for a couple of years now, and you want to bring up 2016. Bro, you guys haven't won a playoff game since 2016. You haven't won a Super Bowl since 2009. And don't plan on doing it now because you guys are just going to be like Dak Prescott and choke in the playoffs like you have been.
Exactly.
And then I get your quarterback's a rapist. Oh, but Ben Roethlisberger was a rapist. I mean, come on, man.
We're even.
Don't call the kettle black there.
Yeah, and it's crazy. And by the way, I have 10 friends that are Pittsburgh fans, and I made a reel this right after the game, and I tagged them in it, and no one's responded to my reel. Can you please, Pittsburgh fan? Can you please respond? Because if you would have won, you would have been all over my timeline talking about how much my team sucks. Even though we knew we suck, we're 2-6. We suck. We get it. But the fact that you cannot sit there and take a loss like a man or a woman shows your character, and it stinks, just like your city.
They're like, hey, you guys want to go ahead and celebrate 2-8? That's your Super Bowl. Like. Okay, you got beat by a 2-8 basement team. Exactly. Enjoy it, please.
Enjoy it.
I hope you guys sleep like shit knowing that the Cleveland Browns beat you, and you are so salty over it. I have friends and family that are Steelers fans, and I like them. They're all cool, but some of the Steeler fans, holy crap, dude, get it through your heads. You guys got exposed on Thursday Night Football in front of the entire nation. That was amazing. And then your wide receiver comes out here and says, yeah, the weather. I'm like, dude, you guys are an hour and a half away. Get out of here, man. Get out of here.
Conditions also helped you sometimes, Pickett. Matter of fact, you did a offensive pass interference that catch the first play of the game, and you got help. But anyways, Lathrell says free agents don't want to play in snow. They want a dome. It does help. I think playing in a dome does help attract a city two players, and I agree with that. I think a dome will help with that. Second point, let's move on from this dome thing because Pittsburgh stinks. It has nothing to do with the dome, but I just wanted to say Pittsburgh stinks. Hey, well, you need a dome. You need a dome for multiple reasons, and it's not just. And this is what the argument is when Browns fans lose me is when they say, "Well, we want to play in the elements." It's silly to do that. It's silly that you have 90, 40, 50-year-old men down there without shirts on and snow. You're going to get ammonia. It's silly. Like, let's, I get you're a fan. I get, if you want to go down there, that's fine. And you want to dress up like that, that's great. But the dome is not about just your football team. It's about the Haslams getting more events here. You can't get events with an open stadium. It's just facts. Okay.
We have them every once in a while, but not often.
It has to be in the summertime, and you got to hope it doesn't rain. Like, see, now you're hoping instead of like planning, which it stinks. Number two, I know it's early, but Jameis Winston has 1,266 yards, 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He has 2 fumbles. My question to you, Mike, is do we make him the number 1 quarterback next year? Not backup, but do you bring him in to be your number 1 quarterback next year?
As of right now, I say yes. I said it earlier. I don't want to draft anybody to bring here and die. Get a veteran, bring him here, let him play ball. This guy knows the system now. He seems to be doing well with the system. He's 30 years old. He's got some time left in him. Sign him for 1 or 2 years. Let him play. Let him play that pocket. He's good. He just got to stop throwing picks. If he could fix that, why not win game? Why can't we win games?
Yeah. And we've seen it throughout the league. You see resurgence of certain quarterbacks getting into a system with a quarterback who believes in them. You got Geno Smith. You got that guy from Detroit. Just my mind. Just get my quarterback from. Yeah, Goff. You got Goff. You got Sam Darnold. You have these quarterbacks who have resurgence in their career once they get into a system with the coach that believes in them. And I think Winston can be that guy here. The problem is, the organization is going to have to admit failure with the Watson thing, and they have to be okay with it, with the hit initially, right? They're going to take a hit.
Keeps on saying no.
Yeah, they're going to have to take a hit. No about what? No for Winston. I guarantee that's what he's saying.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I get. We're not saying that he's going to be your savior, but you're going to need someone who's going to want to train or help your next quarterback, right? Winston's a leader that is willing to know his role, that he's here to help bring up a quarterback in this system. And he's just a good leader. And I think he'll be perfect fit for that. That's my argument. I'm not saying that he's going to win you 12, 13, 14 games and make you number 1 in AFC North. I mean, he can make you a wild card, but I think this is more or less of a culture thing, not just a winning thing.
Yeah, we did it. You're right. It is a culture thing. You want to know why? Because we did it with Baker. We built culture, and we let him go for a guy that hasn't played football in 2 years, got an 11-game suspension for being a piece of crap, and then couldn't play football. Yeah. What do you do at that point? And we offered him all this money. I don't think the Browns will ever make another guaranteed contract. That I want to cuss so bad. That's stupid. That was purely ignorant. And yes, Cleveland was happy. Deshaun Watson. We all know his stats. We know he was elite in Texas.
Because we thought we were going to get the Texas Watson, and you thought you put him with Kevin with the receivers that we had at the time, because Baker was pretty good. Baker has some shortcomings. Needs someone that's better than Watson, not on the same level.
Hold on.
You stick with.
Yeah, Lathrell says, you need someone that's better than Watson, not the same level. You stick with Watson until you find someone better. Oh, we found somebody better already.
Come on.
Winston's better than Watson.
We're going to have to save this later because I want him on the show because he's part of
he's part of TMD, I believe.
Yeah, he is. We're just going to have a guest on today, but he didn't show up.
Hey, do you want to come in now, Lathrell? I'll bring you in now if you want.
Do you want to come in?
I'll bring him on the show. I mean, how do you sit there and say that we need to find somebody better than Watson, and Winston is clearly better than Watson right now?
I hope he does, because that's going to be a good argument. But that's crazy. He said that. What has Watson done to make it that you could say someone better? Like, He hasn't thrown for 200 yards at all this season.
Ever.
And your team is it has not looked comfortable since he's been here outside of the Baltimore game, maybe the Tennessee game. Before the shoulder surgery, the team has not looked comfortable at all. He said give him 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't get the argument. If he can't come on, we're gonna have to have him on after the holidays because he's gonna have to explain that one to me because that's gonna be a good show. Number 3, the whole talk before the game was Kevin's future. My question to you guys is: with the Browns' victory over the Steelers, did Kevin secure his job for next year?
Yeah, we're not going to let him go, man. As a Cleveland fan, everybody obviously likes Vrabel.
Yeah.
He is a head coach material. He's
he said send a link.
He's probably going to be somewhere. Oh, crap. I will do that right now.
Yeah. We're doing that now, Lithero. I'm hoping I'm saying your name right. If not, correct us.
I want to say Latherall, but I don't.
Latherall.
Latherall. We'll get it out of him when he gets on here.
I have a speech problem to begin with, so I'll probably say your name wrong either way. So
good thing you have a face for radio.
Yeah. my speech is off, and I know it. That's why I have my notes, and I go over it an hour before we're on live because I know my weaknesses because I want to make the show better. Yeah, I agree. Like you can't let Kevin go. You can't listen. Here's some stats for you, okay? And this is something no coach has done here since Bill Belichick, right? Or not even Bill Belichick, Marty, I believe. Kevin, since hired as head coach in 2020, the Browns are 26-14 at home. Listen to this, Browns fans. You have a coach that when you have home field advantage, he most likely, when he wins 0.650% of the time, he has a 650 winning percentage at home. Okay, that includes 11-4 home record against your AFC North. He's 11-4 against your division at home. And this is the guy you guys are talking about getting rid of. Yeah. That is insane to me. You have a head coach at home that automatically gives you a winning percentage, and you're saying, let's hire somebody that we don't.
Oh. Whoa, welcome to the Mike Show, I guess. Yeah, I see where he's going with that. I mean, clearly, what do you guys think? Honestly, if you had a choice between Deshaun Watson or Jameis Winston, who are you playing right now? And Sam, I would love to read your comment, but I can't. Jeff, drunk fat guys with the shirts off is football. They were talking about that on the radio yesterday. That was kind of strange, but I thought that was the thing always. And here we are. Let's see here. I don't know why I can't get anybody on the show. This is awesome. Angel, where'd you go? There he is. Sorry for that. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, he is so fired up. His computer said nope. He should be back here in a second. We won. Here's what Cleveland needs to do. Or here's what happens in Cleveland. We lose. Everybody gets furious. And I understand that. A loss is a loss. Nobody likes to lose. But we win one game, the Ravens game. Every Cleveland fan was back into it. Then we lose the Chargers game. Oh, we suck. And yeah, we have a 2-8 record. We clearly suck, but the issue at the end of the day is when we do win a game, no matter how down we are, at the end of the year, boom, everybody's back in. I don't get it. Why is this not working? I've got nothing. Yeah, the Watson experiment has to go. You had 3 years, 1 year you had an 11-game suspension, The next year, you're injured, season-ending injury. This year, another season-ending injury. And yeah, we have this, the contract is 2 more years. What are we going to do? We have to find something to get rid of the guy. I mean, maybe have him come in here and fight for a job over Jameis Winston, but with the money we're paying him, if he does come back next year, they're going to play him. I sent you another link, Angel. I don't know if you're watching. Hold on. Let me send you another one. It's that. Yeah. Let's get Angel back in here. Boom. Leather, I sent you a link on Facebook as well if you want to join us. But yeah, no more quarterback talk. Let's talk about these Pittsburgh fans again, man. This was a brutal week for them, apparently. And like I said, I was on Twitter and X or whatever you want to call it yesterday, and man, I can't tell you the things these Steelers fans said to me had me cracking up. No stream. Hold on. Let me send you. I don't know why. I'll send you a new link here. Try that one. Angel, I sent you another one, man. I don't know what is going on right now. Of course, we're having technical difficulties now. Good show going, and bam. Hopefully they'll be here in a second. But yeah. There was another podcast in Pittsburgh that I would love to get on the show. Oh, he's... All right. It doesn't say you're in here yet. As soon as you are, I'll bring you in. Let's see. He's clearly not Marcus for this show, but if he does come in... What is going on? But anyways, yeah, there's a podcast in Pittsburgh that was talking crap about Myles Garrett, like hardcore crap. And talking hardcore crap, and then his co-host said that he hopes that Myles Garrett tears his ACL. And then the actual guy of the show was, there he is. Let's put him over here. What is up, buddy?
What's good? What's good, sir?
Thank you for joining us, man. Oh, well, until Angel comes back, I guess thank you for joining me.
Right. I had to wear my hat for you.
Like, man. We had high hopes for the guy. We did.
Yes,
but it's just, unfortunately, not everything works out the way it should. But, yeah, I don't know if you heard. I was talking about the Pittsburgh podcast that I saw over yesterday where the guy was cussing and swearing up Myles Garrett, talking all kinds of shit about Myles Garrett, and his co-host said that he hopes that Myles Garrett tears his ACL.
Oh, wow.
And then he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. His host was actually like, no, don't say that. Football gods, please don't. Please don't. He's like, I take it back. And I'm like, dude, you already said it, man.
Yeah, no, you already told us how you feel.
Yeah, you're done now.
What type of person you are. Nah,
exactly.
That ain't cool. That even all the people that was doing that about Deshaun Watson, man, I told them, I said they need God, because you want somebody to be hurt and all. That's just foul. Just because you didn't like the guy. It's just a football game. It's just a sport.
I don't wish injury upon anybody ever. Yeah. But unfortunately, some things happen. It does happen every once in a while, and it's very unfortunate. I would like to play a team at its fullest every week. That way you know who's better at the end.
Yep. And I don't like elements either, because I don't want no excuses when we kick your butt. The same way that Pickens is trying to say because of the snow, they won. But he don't realize that we were kicking their butt going into halftime. So you can't use the snow as an excuse. Going into halftime, we was dominating y'all. Myles Garrett had 3 sacks going into half. If it wasn't the snow, he could have had 6.
Yep.
6.
Angel's back.
He could have had 20.
Right. The way you were going.
What's up, sir?
What's going on?
Finally, nice to meet you over the video. I loved you guys' show on Thursdays. I watch every Thursday from 8 to 8:30 because that's when my daughter is in gymnastics, and that gives me a half hour of just not watching her do tumbles. or
Yeah.
or you know, gymnastic stuff. And the whole time she's like, "Dad, watch." I'm like, "I'm watching, honey. I'm watching." But yeah, I love your show. They're every Thursday, starts at 8 p.m. Correct?
Yeah, the one that's the TM. That's them. That's
Yeah.
but I'm with the My Dogs podcast. We every Wednesday at 8.
Oh, okay. Every Wednesday, 8. Listen, he's got good takes too.
Yes.
They're good, man. He's good. They're good. Follow them. And chat. I love the chat that we had a couple weeks ago about when you guys talked about Daniel Jones, what quarterback you would want. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, it changed my mind on some things, and Mike would disagree, but I enjoyed that one. Sorry,
So
I got
wait,
you guys off topic.
how do you say your name exactly? Is it
It's thorough, like he's very thorough.
Thorough?
Oh, thorough. Okay.
Well, that's the short one, but the long version is Love Thorough.
Okay.
Thorough. All right.
Yeah.
Thorough it is. That's easy.
Thorough it is. Easy to remember.
Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Everybody in here, love to hear about it, man.
I'm this is Thorough from the My Dogs podcast, where my opinions are always just my opinions. Follow me on My Dogs podcast on every Wednesday at 8 on Facebook, YouTube, and X, Twitter, whatever y'all want to call it. Follow me if y'all want some real authentic Browns take. I mean, I'm a bias. I ain't gonna front, but I keep it real. I keep it real about my players and about my team. And I'm the only one that's allowed to talk about Deshaun Watson. I'm the only one that's allowed to talk about Mr. I call him Mr. Shutdown, Denzel Ward, and I'm the only one allowed to talk about Elijah Moore. The rest of y'all got to keep their name out of y'all mouth.
What about George Pickens?
Oh, Pickens! Oh, y'all can talk about him all day, all that crying. I was on his Twitter trying to kill him. I was like, man, we playing the same elements. What you crying about?
One thing I do want to talk is because I follow you on Facebook. I follow your reels. So are you married to a Pittsburgh fan?
Yeah, my wife.
Oh man. Wife, yes. I don't know if that's worse than being married to a Wolverine fan, but how does that work out between you two? By the way, I love the banter back and forth. It was comical, and I'm glad it worked out for you this time.
Yes, this time.
Yeah.
Oh, it will in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it will again in 2 weeks. But how did that come about? If you don't mind sharing, like, how did you, first of all, did you know she was a Pittsburgh fan, or did she trick you?
Oh, no, I didn't know. I mean, yeah, we both from Youngstown, but we met up here in Columbus, and then we found out we both was from back home, and I mean, we liked each other, and it kicked off. So, I mean, going over on 10 years plus.
Yes. See, love conquers all, folks. There's hope.
Oh, yeah, not on Sundays. It doesn't.
Yeah, not on Sundays. I mean, whew. I always tell people the one stat that I hate about Pittsburgh, or being a Browns fan, is the Ben Roethlisberger stat.
Oh, yes.
He had, just imagine this. This is crazy. Ben Roethlisberger had more wins in Cleveland Stadium than our quarterbacks.
Yeah.
How is that possible? They only play one time a year, and he had more wins than our quarterbacks that play there 8 times a year. Man, that's crazy, Cleveland.
And that's why they're so dominant right now in the rivalry as far as like wins to losses, because that decade of just darkness looms over us, where we just could not win, couldn't find a quarterback to compete against them, and then we just could not find ways to win until he got old, and then it changed.
We're creeping back up there, though.
I'm the type of Browns fans, because anytime you look up Browns, it's always something bad. So, like, I think it was last year, I think we played Cincinnati, or this year we played Cincinnati. Last year we played Cincinnati. Because the one year we played Baker, we went to Tampa. We never won our season opener on the road or at home. I want easy games. They're like, oh no. I'm like, man, y'all don't. Me, I'm like, y'all don't get it. I'm tired of being in these bad stats.
Yeah.
Let's play a junior high team. I really don't care. I want to get rid of these stats, because every time, if you a Browns fan and you play any team and you want to go look for some images or anything to talk some stuff, it's all gonna be bad stuff. You're not going to go online and find nothing good about the Cleveland Browns.
No, you gotta search for it, man, or make it up yourself.
You gotta go deep.
No, you can be like a Pittsburgh fan and just go years back and just talk shit about all that every single time.
The 6 rings.
Yeah, when we had Jim Brown, we were dominating. It was like, and then they say, "Oh, that doesn't matter." It's like, well, you guys have had a championship in 10 years. How's that the same thing? Either way. Yeah. So what did you? What you guys talk about the Watson thing before I hopped on? Because you saying no. Okay. Okay. So yeah, let's talk about that. You were saying no. I'm assuming you were saying no because you want to keep Watson.
Yes.
Okay. So give us your take.
One of my scenario is the same thing that's going on in Pittsburgh. Denver is paying for Russ. So now he's balling over there in Pittsburgh, and another team's paying for him. If Deshaun Watson is in Cleveland or Deshaun Watson is somewhere else, guess what? Guess who's paying? The Cleveland Browns. So if I'm going to pay some 80, 90 something million, I put you on the bench. I would do everything. I'm not just going to give what now Denver did it because they only had 1 year left. We got 2 years left. So that's bigger. So then the following year, yes, maybe I can consider it, but I'm not ready to get rid of this Deshaun Watson experience because before the season even started, I told everybody wanted, was it Brandon Ayuk? I'm like, no, we need a left tackle. We need a line. Quit getting all this stuff that dress up the car. No, we need an engine. And without a line, I knew this. I'm not gonna say I knew it, but this season was you didn't get to see the real Deshaun Watson when he was running for his life. I blame this season on Andrew Berry. That's another guy nobody allowed to talk about. I blame this season on Andrew Berry because Andrew Berry didn't secure a line. We knew we had line problems going into the season. He did nothing. So nobody can judge Deshaun Watson when he was just running for his life. So I feel in the first round, late first round, all depends on how we go. We can get a quarterback. We need to go old school. We get a quarterback, or in the second round, get a quarterback. Let Deshaun Watson come back from his Achilles heels. He's not going to miss no time. He's not going to miss no training camp. Let Deshaun Watson play out the season. And if he starts to suck by week 6 or week 7, we still got that rookie that we drafted. Or let Deshaun play the whole season and let the rookie, because people don't realize it's hard for rookies to learn a playbook, to learn schemes, to learn defenses. And that's why some of them get washed out. Let them sit back and learn. So when they get in there, they already know the play calls. They already know this. Now they just got to learn the speed of the game. So
let me ask you something. This is what I don't want to do. I don't want to bring a college quarterback here because obviously college and NFL are completely different, harder, faster. I don't want to bring another quarterback in here to die.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. I always for the last 10 years, I said, don't, because I'm a players guy. I don't care about a team. I love the Browns, but I'm about the players, and I want them. I want their future. I want them to grow in everything they want to do. Like, don't come to Cleveland until the organization, the players, and everybody gets on the same page, and we get a winning organization. Because I tell people, shoot, Tim Couch, he could have been a great quarterback. Yeah. Nobody knows, but if you went somewhere else, they could have blossomed. But coming to Cleveland, because I don't know if y'all watched Josh Cribbs and his wife, they do a podcast, and he talked about, I didn't know he was a coach. Did you know he was a coach with Hugh Jackson? He was on the team.
No, I did not know that.
Yes, he was on the team with Hugh Jackson. He was like, and this was back in the day because Hugh Jackson was the coach, and he said the atmosphere in Cleveland, he said he couldn't believe it. He said they're so much like kids. They had to have a timeout. They had a 15-minute section just so they could get on their phones. He said back his day, he's like, oh no. He said, man, these kids, they so baby. And he said that when you go into meetings, everybody playing around, talking, nobody's listening. That's the atmosphere that needs to change in Cleveland before it can translate to the field. Because I always question people. Do we have any leaders on the team? And I always say, no, people come up with leaders. We have no true one in my definition of a leader on the Cleveland Browns team. And that's why they play in the way they play. Because if you play for Tom Brady, if you play for Michael Jordan, you miss a pass, you didn't work out hard, or you do anything, you know you was going to the bench. Is there anybody on the Cleveland Browns team on offense where you know you met Cedric Tillman, where you know you keep messing up, that you're going that you need to that you're going to be on the bench, that you're scared to mess up for? On defense, yes, we have Miles, yes, we have Denzel Ward, but as Juan Thornhill said, came out and he admitted, yes, I didn't run my hardest. That guy runs a 4.3. I know I wasn't going to catch him. But when you playing for those Ray Lewis and all them guys, you're not going to do that. You're going to give 110% every time, because you don't want to let them down, because they're going to get on top of you. And we have nobody that's holding nobody accountable in Cleveland.
Agreed.
So do you think Watson can be that guy?
I just don't think until he start playing a little bit better. I don't know if they like Watson. Tell you the truth, by the player's body language, okay. I don't know if they like him. So I don't think Watson can
see that. That would be my argument to bringing him back, because what I think what you're saying makes sense from everything you should do as an organization as far as bringing up someone young. If you draft somebody, you're going to need somebody there to protect them, because you do need an offensive line, which, by the way, this show did talk about that too, by the way. The offensive line was a little sketchy for us in the beginning of year 2. We agree with your spot on take about Andrew Berry ignoring it, thinking these guys are going to be healthy enough to anchor the season. Total flop on his part. But the worry is, one, that he's not going to want to help develop that young guy, which is, he has a right not to, or to do that. Most quarterbacks don't. But is his leadership going to ruin the culture they're trying to build if they keep him around?
I mean, I can't tell you why they're not. It all depends on why they're not rallying behind Deshaun Watson. Is it the off the field stuff, or is it his play? So you got to figure out why they're not. Or is Deshaun Watson do he want to be a great teammate? I mean, I don't know. So it's too many elements for me to answer that question. So I got to figure out why Deshaun Watson is disconnected from his team. But when he got hurt, they all came together for him. So
that's true.
Maybe next year if he's still on the team, and that's the other thing. So y'all proposing us to release Watson because there's no other scenario, because Watson has a no trade clause.
Yeah,
so y'all only scenario is the releasing.
Daniel Jones is what I call it.
No, but Daniel Jones had a reality check, and now Daniel Jones want to get out.
Yeah.
He want to get out. Deshaun Watson ain't gonna get out. Deshaun Watson gonna sit there.
So there's a couple scenarios of this situation. Obviously, you go out there and you play. Everybody knows the money he's making. That just makes everybody upset immediately with poor play. Everybody thought it was a bad decision. Not us in general, but just a lot of fans think it was generally a bad idea to bring him in here with not knowing what suspension he was going to get. Wound up going out 11 games. Next season he comes in, plays 6 games, gets injured, out for the year. Comes in again, horrible play, and again, season-ending injury. Are these players that are playing with him are like, man, this dude's making all – I don't think this is realistic, but I've heard this. Are all these players getting mad because he's making all this money and no play? We're not winning games. I don't think they're going to stop. We've talked about this on numerous shows. I don't think they're going to stop blocking for him, because at the end of the day, they still have a job. They got tape to make if they want to leave this team, you got to go somewhere else. You got to make your play good still, no matter what. So that's one scenario. The other one is Deshaun Watson not what this locker room needs? That's what I think is the common denominator in this whole situation. I don't think Deshaun Watson belongs in Cleveland. I know he didn't want to come here until the guaranteed money was said.
We can say that about a lot of players.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely agree.
Money does talk.
Money always talks. Yes.
How many times did JV? Well, not Clowney. Clowney turned his 2 or 3 times down. Then he realized his value and nobody wanted him, and
then he came. Yeah, Dwayne Bowe had to. He didn't even play for us, and Dwayne Bowe got a lot of money too.
And then we got to watch Amari Cooper get another $5 million, and boom, he's gone 4 weeks later.
Yeah.
I kind of Sam on Facebook said the players have no. I kind of agree with 50% of what he said, because the other part you can't really. I think you have proof that what he's saying is not right. The players have no respect for him as a quarterback. Watson has no leadership. They're done with him because they know he is not the player he used to be. I don't know. I don't know if I can agree with the no respect for him part, because I think what Thorell pointed out was the fact that when he did get injured, they did go to him to show support. If they didn't respect him, they would turn their back on him. And it's been done before in the league. Like when quarterback, I think Aaron Rodgers would be that type of guy. If something happens, like you'll have some teammates kind of like, yeah, it sucks, but other teammates who just won't be as active as showing support as Watson had here with his teammates. One thing I do agree with is that I was a big Watson fan, and I've been a big Watson fan this whole time up to this year. I worry about his leadership and his ability to lead. And I kind of agree. Maybe, and I said it before he got on, maybe the fact that he hasn't played enough consistently, he doesn't feel confident enough to be a leader. Like you look at Jameis, and now Jameis has been in the league. He's been through ups and downs, so he's been developed. He's been built with character, and he has this mentality.
You think
where
they respect Jameis?
The team?
I
think they
don't
respect Jameis?
I don't.
Okay. Why?
The only reason that I said it on my podcast a couple of weeks when it happened. The only reason that I wonder, because you know everybody get on Jameis and his speeches and all. You don't know where they're going, left or right, up or down. You don't know nothing. But I questioned when I think it was Dwan Jones. I think he was playing left tackle or right tackle. I don't know. He gave up a sack, and Deshaun Watson stacked up as a leader, and he talked to him. He told him everything was going to be okay. Then Jameis Winston went over there to talk to him, and I forgot which lineman got in his way, and he said, "No, you're not going over there to talk to him. Wait a minute, this is your quarterback. If there's somebody you respect, if they respect you, Winston, why won't they let Winston go over there and talk to this man? Why did the guy shield Jameis Winston from talking to the guy, saying whatever he had to say to him? They like, nah, we don't need your foolishness. You just go somewhere." Deshaun Watson handled it. He told him what he had to say. He don't need the line stood up against the quarterbacks.
Or do you think they did that because they know Watson is the starter? So, and he already talked to him, and we don't need a backup guy talking to a guy who already's been corrected.
But you said he was a leader, and they respect him. If they respect him, they're going to let him go in there and talk too.
As a starter, I think that would have been different if he was a starter coming there, and I think they would have allowed it. I think the fact that Watson already addressed it on the field because it was made known, the camera was right there, and I think the player, then the offensive lineman, who they're all brotherhood there, they're saying, "Hey, Watson, he's getting it already. Chill out." That was my interpretation of it.
But have y'all ever seen anything like that on a field before, a football field, where they told one guy don't even come? That I don't know. I don't know what to read from it. That was just weird for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. I see your perception of that, and it makes sense to think that. But then when you see him, what he's doing currently, and we brought up in the show when Tillman dropped the pass and he makes a purpose and a reason to go to him. Right, that's leadership. When the Njoku drops a pass and he's making every intention to get his head back right, to get him right, to say, "Hey, it's going to be fine, one play at a time," which is as cliche as it is. I think that shows leadership, and I agree. Like maybe we don't know 100%. Maybe some players think he's just too out there to respect, which I agree. Sometimes his speeches, like this speech on Thursday, is something about horses and the Lord's. It's like, that's not even in the scripture, but hey, man, I follow you. Let's go.
Right.
But so if Watson does come back, what I would like to see out of him is more of a vocal leader, and do it even if you're struggling, because I think it would be a lot appreciated more once he starts winning. Because I just, for some reason, back in my mind, I do have a worry that we're going to let him go. He's going to go to another team. He's going to ball out again, because it doesn't make sense to me that you can be so good at one place and here you just lost.
So
go ahead.
So Deshaun Watson's bad play. We know, like I said, we've had offensive line issues. what do you think that Deshaun Watson would do different than Jameis right now? Being sacked more than anybody in the league. How now can Jameis Winston stay in the pocket and make plays happen, but Deshaun Watson scrambled 1 to 2 seconds every play? Like what?
And that's the thing where Deshaun, where everybody want him to be the Deshaun Watson of Houston. But guess what Deshaun Watson of Houston did? He took off and he ran. Now in Cleveland, you're saying he taking off too fast. That's what Deshaun just doing what Deshaun does. But the difference between Joe Flacco and Winston is they're standing in the pocket. Because I heard Joe Thomas. I think Joe Thomas talked about Batonio, and he said the line. That's the problem is with practice. They need to learn Deshaun. Deshaun needs to stay healthy so they can learn where he's at. Because everybody know Batonio is a great guard, but Joe Thomas was like, as a line, you need to know where your quarterback's going to be. He said, look at this play. Batonio pushed his the DT out back far, took him back. I'm just gonna make up an example. Took him back 8 yards, and he got a sack on Deshaun. And the DT and the Batonio like, wait a minute, you only supposed to have been 5 yards. Why is you way back here? So he said, now look at the next sack. He said, now look at the next sack. Now the Batonio say, okay, you're going out there. So now I'm going to keep you at 3 to 5 yards. Then Deshaun Watson at 3 to 5 yards when you. So when you got a mobile quarterback, the line needs to know where you at all the time, and it's hard to block for Deshaun when every play you doesn't know where he's going to be at. You know your assignment and know what you need to do. But this guy is so orthodox that you don't know where he's going to be at all time, and that's why he got all these sacks.
That's my point. Like where
that's a good take.
The defense or the offensive linemen have their backs to Deshaun, so they have no idea if he's going to the right, the left, how to block that. There are lines that could do it. I mean, we watch it with Lamar Jackson. All right, so Deshaun Watson said, "I'm not a running back. We're going to pass the ball. I want to see him be able to stay in the pocket and pass the ball." What are you not seeing? Like, there's been so many open receivers that he's missed as well. And I'm not blaming this on solely Deshaun Watson because, like I said, every other show, offensive line problems lead to quarterback problems lead to wide receiver issues. That's just how the game works. But what do you think Deshaun could do to better himself as a quarterback to be able to play for the Cleveland Browns next year?
Well, first of all, I'm going to get into it later whenever y'all ready for it. The problem is somewhat not Deshaun, it's the head coach, the play calling. But where you said what he can do better is trust his eyes, trust him. Because the one thing that people don't realize about Deshaun doesn't throw no picks. And why does Deshaun not throw no picks? He holds the ball a little bit too long. Joe, I mean, y'all talking about y'all want Winston. Winston lost us that game yesterday. He threw 2 picks back to back. Then everybody talk about they wanted Flacco. Or if our defense is not playing lights out, we would have never made the playoffs last year when the defense wasn't playing lights out when Deshaun Watson was in there. If the defense was playing lights out, like the way they played with Joe Flacco and they played with Winston yesterday, we would have had more wins. But everybody's giving these decent quarterbacks credit the same way that Flacco just got benched over a bum. So, but the one thing that it's all about practice, and it comes down to head coach. It's the main thing is the head coaches. And Deshaun Watson said in one of his press conferences, same way that as I gave y'all the scenario on the line, when the one, I think it was Jared Jeudy, one of his last plays, when he rolled to the right, he threw the ball to Jared Jeudy, and it almost got picked, but it bobbled up in the air, and Jared Jeudy caught it for an interception. Deshaun Watson said in his press conference, and that's where these quarterbacks, it's more, I mean, these wide receivers, it's more than just Deshaun Watson to get good plays. And Deshaun Watson said, when I roll out, don't stare there and look at me like I'm Mike Vick, or y'all got to run to me. Y'all got to go. That's what made Pittsburgh so good. I always say Pittsburgh had the worst play calling, but when Big Ben broke out, they all just started. It was a scramble drill, and everybody got open. Cleveland, wide receivers, don't sit there and wonder if Deshaun Watson is going to run or not. go try to get the ball, get open. And Deshaun Watson said it in his press conference. So it's more deeper than Deshaun Watson. He needs everybody to play and know his style. Don't sit there and watch.
I understand that point. And my question, I guess, would be, is if there are so many open receivers out in the field, Deshaun's in the pocket, why can't you make the plays happen? What my biggest thing is yes, Jameis Winston's a gunslinger. He's made throws that Deshaun Watson would never make. I
wouldn't say that.
Why not?
Because when they said Njoku, when it was Winston threw that touchdown pass to Njoku over the middle, they said, oh, Deshaun Watson wouldn't have did that. But I think earlier this year or last year, Deshaun Watson made the same pass to Njoku. On the end to Amari Cooper, he threw some passes where you'd be like, how did he get that in there? He can throw. He can don't play full like that. He can
just
throw.
A question.
Now his confidence and his consistency of it may be at the question, because he can make those throws.
So could another question be where this is why we got rid of Amari Cooper, because that was obviously the number one wide receiver, but was Deshaun Watson's main focus on Amari Cooper, solely on him, and then check downs after that?
And I think a lot of that got into Watson's head was the fans and the media. How did Flacco make Amari Cooper a star and you can't? So he was just forcing it to him. He was just forcing it to him, wouldn't going to nobody else. But if that was the play call, it's like I say, the biggest problem is the head coach. The head coach, if you know that our line is this bad or was this bad, why wasn't you having Deshaun Watson roll out to the right or the left? Why would you just have him going straight back? Coach Stefanski, why is all your plays? You know we got third and fourth streams people on our line. Why is every play that you design 20 yards down the field?
Because they're all made for Deshaun Watson. Those plays are made for Deshaun Watson.
I think
if he had a line.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think the issue is that I don't think Kevin and that's my issue. I think Kevin and Deshaun are not made for each other. I just don't think they're ever going to fit. And I think this organization is going to have to eventually choose. Mm-hmm. Do you want Watson or do you want this coach? Because I think Kevin needs and my point is, the reason why I'm saying I'm okay with Watson and I was okay with Flacco, not that I want them long term, is because I see that if you can get me a quarterback that can play under center, that can do play action, that can read a defense, not that Watson can't. I think the issue with Watson a lot, actually 90% of issue with Watson since he's been here is all mental. Mm-hmm. I think he has the ability to make those throws. I'm not saying he can't, because he's done it. I just think the reason why he hasn't is because he's holding that ball on for an extra second or two, overthinking it. And I think that's the difference between him and Winston. Winston, to his credit, doesn't think as much as Watson. And sometimes it makes him pay because he'll throw a pick. But sometimes it makes him look beautiful because he'll get that guy open on the seam for a touchdown. So my issue, and I think the long-term issue is an organization, something they're going to have to decide this year. They can't do this another year because it's just going to be a wasted year. If they can roll this back with Ken Dorsey and Watson, then great. But as we see this last three games, outside of the Saints game, because Winston made some horrible decisions, if you get a quarterback under center that can play average play, we can win. If Watson can't be that, then you're going to have to move on. Yeah. Or if you think Watson's the guy, you're going to have to get a coach that can fit Watson's mold, because we see it throughout the whole league. Look at Washington. They brought in a guy, not the coach, that said, Jaden Daniels is going to be this type of quarterback. We need to find a coach that's going to fit his mold and bring out the best of him. And that's why Washington's good this year.
You said the key right there. And that's why I kept going back to coaching. I'm gonna say one thing before I forget, then I'm gonna come back to, because I got a lot about Stefanski and Foe. But the thing is, when I brought up earlier about Josh Cribbs and how the players is when I brought the leadership and all this stuff. Where in Cleveland, and you the head coach, you got 2 weeks in a row. Amari Cooper, they was talking about Amari Cooper's play. Amari Cooper, they said you had these slumps before. And Amari Cooper said, I know what I need to do. I need to work harder in practice. Coach, you telling me your players isn't working hard in practice? Then the next week, Jared Judy. What did Jared Judy? These people are saying this on the podium. Jared Judy said,
shape.
I was tired out there.
Yeah, that was dumb.
This is week 5. This is week 5 or 6, and you tired? So how is your number 1 and your number 2 wide receivers saying these things? Coach, they wasn't ready for the season. Yeah. They were not ready. You did not get your players ready for the season. Week 5, somebody still telling me they tired like Mike Tyson was in the second round. Come on now. No.
I agree, man. We got to stop sending these guys to Camp Cupcake over there in Greenbrier. And
you got to be a harder coach.
Yeah.
And I went to one of their, I had a private session. I ain't going to say who invited me and what's going on, but they had a problem with, like, even the players making injuries. They said ain't nothing wrong with Njoku. Like when in practice, Njoku, they said Njoku wasn't hurt. He just didn't want to practice. I believe, to me, Njoku, when we had John Dorsey. John Dorsey wanted the Njoku to work on his pass blocking or his run blocking. He still can't block. He wanted him to work on his route running. He still can't run routes. He wanted him to work on his catching. He still can't catch. Njoku act like he's playing for an LA team. He loved his stardom. That's why he keep taking that shirt off, never wearing the shirt. He loved being famous more than being a football player. He loved everybody want to run up to him, take pictures, and sign autographs. How Njoku dropped that pass? Why? Oh, a great play call by Ken Dorsey, all by himself. And he dropped that one. Then the next one, when he get bended up like a like Njoku's hands is just.
It's weird.
I know y'all was talking about y'all like Njoku. I've never been a fan with Njoku. Never wanted him to get this contract. His hands are all Cleveland wide receivers' hands are suspect. Are suspect. We have not one person on the team besides Elijah Moore, because nobody allowed to talk about him. That if because I always ask people on my podcast, I ask both of y'all, we in the Super Bowl, fourth and 1 or whatever. Who would, and they wide open, who would you throw the ball to and bet your house that they would catch it?
Nick Chubb.
No, I don't know about Nick Chubb.
Little screen pass to Nick Chubb, man.
I would hope it would be the quarterback that gives it to Moore. But my issue is the quarterback who you've been pining for has not been looking for more.
Yes.
If you look at Moore's great season so far as a Brown, it's been with Flacco and so far with Winston. For some reason, the connection between him and Watson is just not there. And maybe it's because what Mike said, he's so focused on Cooper that he's missing these open guys. Because I agree, I think Moore's dad even said something on X about it. He's like, my guy's open.
Yeah.
And he's just not getting the ball. And I agree. And it's just it's been a sad 2 years for him because we've been underusing him because it consistency at quarterback.
First and foremost, dads and couch coaches got to stay off the internet.
Right.
We watched it with Baker too. It's ridiculous. But
see, and a lot is, I think the players, like I said, people saying they gave up on Deshaun, are they still buying into the coach? Because for some reason, I don't even know if y'all know that you wanted Flacco, Winston back. Guess what? If Watson wouldn't have got hurt, Winston wouldn't be on this team. They was trading Winston. Winston got benched for that end of that fourth and inches.
Yeah. He changed the play call.
Yeah, he changed the play call. They was already saying he was training, so he got benched. Kevin Stefanski just like, man, I got one quarterback, my starting quarterback I don't want. Now I got this backup I don't want because my starter just got hurt. So he does. So I mean, he don't want either of them. But I just believe that the problem started with Stefanski. I would love to see what Ken Dorsey can do with Watson, because I gets on Stefanski's play call, and I always go back to the COVID year. where we had all of our wide receivers, every single one of them. We didn't have not one wide receiver on our team. We had 4 or 5 tight ends playing wide receiver, and Baker still threw for 40 times. And we got Nick Chubb in the backfield. Coach, you got tight ends playing wide receiver. Why is your quarterback still throwing over 40 times? This guy he doesn't get it. He doesn't know how to run the ball.
You can make that argument for Ken Dorsey too, because last week against the Saints, he had 45 throws and 20 runs.
But you got to take into consideration that Nick Chubb is on he's got to be on a count. I would imagine.
Ford,
still.
You have Ford though, and I think Ford is a good, not a Nick Chubb, but he's a good 2. So,
but I come back with that one is how much, because you know, I don't even think it was Stefanski's call to give up play calling. He would have never give up play calling.
No, I think he had to. I agree.
Yeah. So how much is Ken Dorsey having to call Kevin Stefanski's play calling and his plays that they signed up for the week? Is he still scared? He like, hey, when I got to listen to whatever you say, yes, I'm calling the plays, but most likely, or you might not be here next year, then I could do my own thing, but I have to, you my boss. I got to listen to whatever you want. This is the game plan you want. I'm just going to put it in the order that you want. So is he freely calling plays?
According to them, it's a collaborative effort.
Yes.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? They're working together.
That's a word in Berea, collaborative.
Yeah, here's a question for you, Thero. So when Deshaun Watson's in here, we're playing a lot of shotgun, sometimes with no back in the backfield. So you obviously know we're running the ball or passing the ball. What do you think about play action? I love it. I think it works. You got a guy in the backfield to block again, another blocker in the backfield. And it seems to be working as of right now, besides the shotgun formation that seems to blow up in our face every time.
One of the way I felt now I'm getting to the nits and gritty of the conversation is that it's once again it's Stefanski. His system is not for shotgun. It's for under the center, so you can run his play action. But coach, I think every coach that comes into Cleveland has a big ego that they want to be. They worried about themselves. They want to be the first person to take Cleveland deep into the playoffs to win the Super Bowl. They're not doing what's better for the team. The same way these coaches got to play for what they have. Look at Lamar Jackson. Do you think Harbaugh want to run this, whatever they running? No. After the first year, he said, okay, we're going back to your whatever you ran in college, and we're going to run that because you're not a passing quarterback. I can't get what I want out of you. I'm going to humble myself for my quarterback. Stefanski, humble yourself for your quarterback. Get rid of your system. You're not in Minnesota. Get rid of your system that's going to work for your quarterback. And it takes a head coach and an offensive coordinator, because how did 2 years in a row Pittsburgh, they got winning seasons and they go to playoff with, was it Mason Rudolph? Because guess what? They know what type of quarterback they got. They know the limitations that quarterback they has, and they're going to play as a team, and they're going to limit things to win. But Stefanski, no, we still going to do 20, 30-yard routes down the field. Yeah, I know we don't got no line. I don't care. It just, come on. And I always go back to even last year. How many sacks did TJ Watt have on us? He had like 6 or 8.
I think 16 total for the year.
No, I'm talking about on Cleveland. On that one game, he had like 8 sacks. Y'all both ain't. I don't know y'all, but y'all ain't coaches. Y'all could have figured out something to stop him at 5. Come on, man. Just, like, coach, you still got y'all ain't chipping him. You're not putting a tight end over there. You're not putting a running back on this side. There's no way that one player that stays in one spot should be able to get 8 sacks on you. Coach Stefanski, you got to figure something out. Roll that way, roll this way. You got to do something, but it starts with Stefanski and his play calling.
Well, now it's Ken Dorsey's play calling,
and we never how many sacks did TJ Watt have?
None. But here's the thing: this is the part that blows it up for. This is the part that blows it up for all of Cleveland. I called it on the show, and I was like, you know what needs to happen? Ken Dorsey needs to be up in the booth, calling plays to put all this to rest and see what happens. And it happened the next day. We lost to Deshaun Watson that week as well. So now we have no idea what would have happened with him making the play calls with Watson in there, which is kind of where I'm like iffy about it. But at the end of the day, I still don't think that this organization and Deshaun Watson fit. Just like Angel said, it's just something does not fit. And what is it?
Yeah, it's something weird.
Excuse me.
Do y'all think that people still fear Nick Chubb?
Not right now.
They will next year.
Hopefully.
I think they do, because that's another thing that Deshaun Watson didn't have. He didn't have Nick Chubb behind him.
Yeah, but you still have Jerome Ford. That's pretty solid.
Nick Chubb. I think so. They don't fear him, but they respect Nick Chubb back there.
Yeah.
I think this whole league respects Nick Chubb.
Running game. We didn't have no running game, and when Deshaun Watson was in there, our running back was averaging maybe
3
yards a carry.
No, I'm talking about like 30 yards per game. So I mean, it's just like So I mean, how is a quarterback going to thrive when you can't even get the running game together?
It's true.
Sam says the way Watson was playing before he got hurt, do y'all think that he would have won any more games? I say no, because Watson has shown no improvement. We would have gotten blown out by Baltimore and Pittsburgh.
No, I don't know. If you give me the Watson that played against Tennessee and Baltimore, I would say yes.
That's 2 games though.
You give me this line right now. They're not.
And that's another thing. People came back. Conklin's back. That's another thing.
And Conklin is playing a lot better because he's getting healthier. But that's the thing why I'm confused, because you have Watson. He played great against Baltimore, Cincinnati. He even played great against Cincinnati in the second half, where you see like, oh, this can work. This can work. Maybe.
But the other thing that I come with, the first season where we say he was suspended for 11 games, he had a winning season. That's all he had a winning record. That's all you want from your quarterback. You don't care about the play. You worried about wins and losses. Then the second year, guess what he had? He had a winning record again. This is the only year, but he didn't have no line, that he didn't have a winning record. So it ain't about the money. It's about the wins and losses. And he might not throw for 300 and do all that stuff, but he getting us dubs.
I'm not saying that Deshaun Watson isn't here to win. I know the guy wants to win. We've heard him say, I want to win. He wants to bring Cleveland a Super Bowl. That's all fine and dandy when in the beginning of the season you say we're going to be a passing team and you can't pass for over 200 yards a single game. I understand the line. You're getting pressured. Man, it's so hard. And it's one of
very,
those, very hard.
Is it the chicken or the egg argument, right? Is it the line or is it him?
You got to wait until our whole roster is healthy to determine that. And that hasn't been that way for 3 years. So I understand that aspect of it. Yeah. But at the same time, other quarterbacks have came in here and done it.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell both of y'all listeners, everybody that's watching. I'm from the My Dogs podcast, and everybody loves to kill 4. So this year, I went on YouTube, go follow the My Dogs podcast. Every throw from Deshaun Watson until he got hurt is on there from week to week to week. And that's the thing that we do as fans. Mm-hmm. We watch the game and we judge it off that. And then you wonder why people are not getting benched, or why people because the coaches go back and they study the film. So I went back and I studied the film, and every throw for Deshaun Watson is on there. And you're going to look at Deshaun Watson. You're going to see how much time he got. You're going to see where the wide receivers running the wrong routes or doing all this stuff. Then you're going to come and adjust back. You're going to come back to this podcast and be like, hey, that guy that y'all had on there Deshaun Watson wasn't that bad. Just go on there and pick any the worst game that you think Deshaun Watson had. Go in there and just pick any of them, and you're gonna see every throw. I cut out all the runs of the defense and all that stuff. All you're gonna see is Deshaun Watson's throws, and you're gonna see Deshaun Watson wasn't that bad. You're gonna see every time Deshaun Watson said "hut," he had somebody in his face.
I would agree with that, especially this year. This year was
this year. I did it this year.
Oh, this year.
I forget who it was. Somebody made a YouTube video, and it's long and it's repetitive, but it shows Deshaun Watson's issues. Who did that? It was an NFL quarterback.
Was it Carrier?
No. I do like him though. Yeah. It was an NFL quarterback. I forget who it was though.
It was it Dan Orlovsky? It
No,
was him. It was him or
I'll
Kurt
find it
Warner.
and I'll send it to you. It's an
Probably
hour of
Warner.
boringness, but he
Was
actually
it Kurt? It
Kurt
was
Warner, yes.
Yeah, it was,
Kurt
it
Warner.
was Kurt Warner. Them the ones that been getting on him. But you
Yeah.
can't, I don't. I understand their takes, but like I said, when you go look at the speed and something that's not slowed down, the speed of the play and the
Actual
play,
gameplay. Actual gameplay. Yeah.
You. I mean, yes, you're going. Every quarterback has that. Every
Mhm.
quarterback gonna have somebody open. I mean, you can do that the same way they say it's holding on every play. Every play, somebody open or wide receiver like, oh, I was open. That I don't buy that. I mean, you could do that with every quarterback. The same way everybody talk about Deshaun Watson and his money. Guess what? Deshaun Watson is not in the top 10 highest paid quarterbacks. But guess what? Everybody want to talk about him. Nobody talk about Joe Burrow only got 3 or 4 wins and he got a big contract. Nobody want to talk about all the real stuff if we're talking about money. Nobody talking about Dak and he the highest paid.
Yeah.
Come on now. It's more than the Deshaun Watson
Or
is
Brett Favre.
he's the 11th highest paid quarterback in the league, but everybody speaks on him as he's number 1.
But also 28th in the league.
Yeah,
Huh?
and
Also
Go ahead.
28th in the league.
in passing. Yeah, look at. I mean, you can even talk about. I was gonna call him Brett Favre.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Same guy.
He has the
Another
same
one.
path. Yeah.
Another one. It's a lot of bad
Yeah.
quarterback play going on out there.
Yeah,
but
And
horrible.
before we
horrible.
end it, I want to touch base with one
Yeah.
more thing. Wide receivers starting to get more money, starting to get greedier, and starting to drop more balls. We've watched that. The kickers. Was there like a kicker's curse last week? Holy crap, man. Like everybody was missing kicks. But wide receivers are getting stingy. I get it. Everybody wants money. But, man, you got to go out there and show that you can play football and catch a ball and get yards after the catch before I pay you another 10, 15 million a year.
Chase is doing good in Cincy though.
yeah, he
Yeah, he's legit. Him and Burrow, man. I
that
mean,
connection.
that connection is what I want here. I don't. I mean, I
But
hope.
do you think Chase is coming back? I think I don't know, but they could lose both wide receivers.
Yeah, T. Higgins and then you can see.
Cincinnati doesn't like to pay anybody.
They played Chase. Chase came out and said, I was tricked. So
He's probably bitter. He probably ain't gonna come back.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that or he gonna hit him over the head, or he won't want out.
Yeah, I mean, Cincinnati's cheap, but you have to pay him.
Now
You
you don't
pay.
want to come back.
Yeah, not if you. But then you're gonna have to be like, listen, we'll give you an extra $5 million because we're sorry because we're stupid.
We gotta
Like,
give you some stock.
You cannot let him leave Joe. I mean, him and Joe's connection is it doesn't get talked a lot about because their record isn't as good as the rest of the league. But their connection, it's weird. They're like twins out there.
When I told my boy this morning, I think the NFL is patenting the way they did. You got a quarterback, then you got the wide receiver that he had in college. Now you see him, everybody trying to get that combo.
And that makes sense.
Wide receiver.
It makes sense. Hey, we're gonna have to have you on the show again. We'll talk. We won't talk about Watson, but we'll talk about football.
Yes. But I got one question before y'all got to go. How do y'all feel about Andrew Berry?
I say this is we're going to see in the offseason.
They're
They're going to let him pick.
Andrew Berry.
You said you love him?
Yeah.
It's a love-hate thing. Let's put it that way. I don't mind him. Obviously, the last 3 years, he hasn't had a first-round pick. So this year, let's see what he does. If nothing happens this year with picks, then that's it. I mean, you're gone, man.
Well, then you have to wait. You're going to have to wait 2 years to see the fruition of those picks.
Depending on who we pick, though.
Yeah, depending on. I still believe in him, believe it or not. And I know people are going to be like, what is wrong? I don't know. I just think there's something about him, this organization in general, learning from their mistakes and trying to correct it. And I'm excited to see what he's going to do with high round picks. Because I think if you look at his lower round picks, sure, they're hit and miss. Most low rounds are hit and miss anyways. Mm-hmm. But I think the hits are hits, right? They're good. And I don't think we've seen enough out of Hall Jr. because he's got hurt. I think Hall was trending good there until he got hurt. Tillman is trending good, right? So we're going to have to give him some time here, okay, guys, before we totally shut the door. And I think him and Kevin are married anyway, so I think you get rid of one, you're getting rid of the other. And because I like Kevin, I think we need to keep him.
I think we graded him an A- at the beginning of the year for his picks. So obviously he's not doing bad, but this is your time to shine, man.
Now that's A- considering where you picked, right? Because if you're getting second and third round picks, you're not everyone hits those. Like Bill Belichick didn't hit every pick, right? And people are like, he's a Hall of Fame head coach. It's like, well, you look at his picks. Like his picks did not go well, right? So I think I like Barry. I want him to stay.
Well, the only reason I said that because I believe out of the Cleveland Browns history, John Dorsey, he put a team together. Then AB came in, and everybody. Some people got, like you said, you love his fantasy. I don't know. Everybody like when he's the 2-time coach of the year. Guess what? These are the two best GMs that Cleveland Browns have ever had. The Cleveland Browns have never had this many stars on one team. Of course, you're going to have all these wins because we're paper champions. We got the best team. We got the best. Sometimes we had the best roster than anybody in the NFL. It's just the coach. The coach just couldn't really deliver. So I say both of these GMs did their thing. Andrew Berry is a wizard. I don't know where he's hiding his money,
especially from a money standpoint. Right now, the stuff that he's doing with the money is interesting too. Now, that's not getting talked about. They're talking about mainly his draft pick, but he's also handling the money pretty smart.
Guru says
it's only two things that I give on. I knock Andrew Berry. The rest of it, I think he did good. One problem is I think when we have a problem, he take too long to address. We could have had some wins with Baker if he would have been gave up on K York. Why we had to go 2 years with K York missing all these field goals, this year, we know we didn't have a right tackle, we didn't have a left tackle. We still some way got a center, and you didn't do nothing. Them my knocks on Andrew Berry.
Guru says, I think Andrew Berry is very good at making deals and shuffling money to make the cap work. He's made good roster moves. I'm interested to see what he does with a full set of draft picks this year. I agree. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
You got your first round picks, man. I can't wait to hear. Oh, you know what? This is what we're going to hear this year. We're going to hear.
First time in a long
time. Cleveland Browns.
I love it.
But yeah, we're gonna end the show. Yeah, we're gonna have you back on. We're gonna talk about some games. I'll have to look at the calendar with the season coming up with the holiday season. Make sure it doesn't mix up with anybody, specifically me and my wife.
And I got a show this Friday with somebody else. I forget who. I'll mention that in some other stuff. But yeah, definitely. Nice to meet you, Thorough, man. Loved having you on, man.
Guys, I'm not lying to you when I say he is good at his stuff. Follow his podcast, follow his YouTube Wednesday nights at 8, and then watch him again Thursday nights at 8. He's good. You live in Columbus, you said, right? That stings. I was hoping to get a little closer. I will be in Columbus next weekend, by the way, celebrating my 14th year anniversary. By the way, I love Columbus. I love the restaurants down there.
I was about to say
They're really good. High Banks is a good restaurant, and Watershed are my top 2 favorite restaurants in Columbus. I love High Street. We stay at the Graduate often, but we're taking kids this time, so it's not going to be a day trip. We're going to go to Cosi. We're going to make a day in Columbus next weekend. So we're excited. I hope to run into you accidentally.
I'll be in Denver. I'm going to Denver for the Denver game.
Damn.
Dang it. Why do you have to go watch the Browns in Denver?
He let you get all that out and then said he's going to Denver.
I know. He's like, sorry. He's like, sorry, bro. I'll be in Denver. All right. Well, next time I'm in Columbus, and me and my wife often visit, I'll try to hit you up. Maybe we can do a double date or something.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I enjoy your reels. Follow him on Facebook for his reels. Just follow him. He's got good content. Yeah. Until next time, like always, we'll be here next Tuesday. Like always, until next time,